Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome back to Superhero Sitdown episode 17, where I sit down with someone who loves superheroes and we talk about the things we love, which is superheroes. And today, you guys are seeing a familiar face as he has already had his own episode of Superhero Sitdown, but today he's coming back as we're going to be talking about the future of superhero gaming, Marvels Avengers, Spider-Man PS5, and all of that good stuff. So, Evan Filarca, say what's up to the people watching.
What's good, fellow Spidey fans and all you merry Marvelites out there? I'm back again on Soup's awesome channel for Superhero Sitdown. I'm ready to get into some awesome discussion points for Avengers, Spider-Man PS4 sequel, potentially on the PS5, and any other awesome Marvel and or DC projects that are coming out in the future for video games.
Awesome, Evan. Hyped to be talking about it because honestly, talking about the future of superhero gaming, which we're only scratching the surface of what this is going to be. I mean, when we really talk about a game like Marvel's Avengers, Spider-Man PS5, like I feel like we're talking about Iron Man 1 here, as we are only scratching the surface of what's coming. Because when you just put it into perspective, what Marvel has done with their movies, just the thought of having gone through that whole experience through gaming. Imagine playing as those heroes as they went on those adventures. Like, just the thought of that is absolutely insane. And the fact that we have a game like Marvel's Avengers that's on the way, which is going to be the main focal point for today's video. The fact that we have a game like Marvel's Avengers that not only does it let you play as all of the Avengers, it literally has different game engines built for each character, but it has multiplayer. And Evan, the fact that I'm going to be able to play alongside my boys and squad up as the Avengers is going to be the most insane thing that gets me more and more hyped every single day.
I totally agree with you, and I definitely think that is what's going to be the biggest factor of the Avengers is because of the 4-player co-op. We've had several other types of co-op / multiplayer-esque games in the past with superheroes like Marvel Ultimate Alliance and fighting games like Marvel vs. Capcom or Injustice. And even though those games are fun, they're not really the same AAA heavy-hitting action-adventure games that we know and love like Spider-Man PS4 or the Batman Arkham games. And since this is the first major AAA Avengers game that's ever been made by Square Enix, Crystal Dynamics, Eidos Montreal, and Marvel Games directly, this is a big thing. And even though I personally am a major fan of how Spider-Man was done from Insomniac and PlayStation, I'm a little bit at, odds with how Avengers is currently being made, but there is a lot of potential. And that's the biggest thing about this game overall is that while there are a lot of divisive factors about it, such as the live service elements, microtransactions for certain cosmetic-only unlockables within the game, and we only know that the story is going to be 10 to 12 hours long and not longer than that, as well as content for years to come, but we don't know when they're going to be inputted. But there is a lot of factors that we do know, like the story itself is going to revolve around Kamala Khan as the main protagonist, which is an interesting choice for an Avengers game, but it'll be very fun and, different to see how that is panned out compared to the wide roster of MCU films we had starring the Avengers, and seeing this new take on them will be interesting to see. Mix that with the gameplay and storytelling that you get from a standard AAA game, but with the characters of the Avengers and all the comics and lore that Marvel and Crystal Dynamics are looking at specifically to craft this story. It'll be interesting. And again, what I'm seeing right now is that my main go-to thought about is that I need to see more before I fully make an opinion about how it'll be finally once it's released on September 4th. But I definitely think that there is a lot of potential with it, and I really am hoping for the best possible outcome that this game could become once it's actually released. But I definitely think it'll be worth the time, especially with you and me and everyone else teaming up online co-op. Oh yeah, that'll be.
Oh, it's gonna be crazy. But with that being said, Evan, there seems to be a lot of controversy within the hype for this game. I mean, first you had in the full reveal, you had a ton of backlash for like the designs of certain characters, the graphics. Then they updated the graphics, but now the game's getting delayed, and then we didn't hear any news about the game for quite some time. And just the fact that the game getting delayed, it caused a lot of hysteria amongst the hype train that was building up for this game. So with that being said, are you more hyped or worried about this game?
It's a really good question, and you make a lot of good points. Is that you would think that since the game was originally supposed to release in May 15th specifically, if we were to take that into consideration, that would mean we would have less than 3 months until it came out. If that was the case, then I would be worried, because then I'd be like, well, we haven't seen anything other than the A-Day gameplay, and now they just revealed the pre-order incentives and all these additions that come along with the game, which is exciting for people who do want to secure their pre-order to get the beta early. And that would be very cautious for me personally, waiting until from now to May, because there would only be such a short/small amount of time for Square Enix and Crystal and Marvel to promote every single aspect that the game will feature. I'm still concerned about several different aspects the game will feature, but I'm definitely less concerned now because of how they delayed the game, which means hopefully they'll have more of a lengthy amount of development time to fully polish it, include what they wanted to from the get-go. If they couldn't feature something in that they wanted to before, now they can. Probably more suits to unlock at launch rather than a smaller amount of costumes to have with the base game. We do know that there will only be 6 main playable characters at launch. Kamala Khan is the main protagonist. Iron Man, Hulk, Thor, Captain America, and Black Widow. We do know there will be more heroes down the line, but those main 6 are the only ones at launch on September 4th. So what I'm hoping for is that I really do hope that they fully analyze and break down what these co-op and live service elements are going to be within the game, since we've already seen a lot of the main story elements that the game will feature. We saw the whole tutorial mission with A-Day, and the fact that they keep repeatedly showing that is a bit agitating for me personally, just wanting to see something different other than the same thing that we've seen time and time again. But this does allow them more time to let the game breathe, pretty much, to let them fully include what they want to include, touch up on a few things.
Take a step back, readjust.
Exactly. Just kind of get a new perspective on people's insights. Are they liking the new stuff with the pre-order stuff? Some of them are. Some people are liking the footage that we saw in the pre-order trailer and the Marvel Legacy costumes. And that is wanting people to see what else the game will feature. And then others, it kind of had the opposite effect. Like, well, why are they showing this when we haven't seen the co-op yet? And I'm in the middle. Yeah. I get what they're doing because they want to have people secure their pre-orders for the beta, but it is weird that they have all this stuff that they're showing, but we haven't actually seen the main multiplayer elements in action yet. So to answer your question, I am a bit concerned, but I am less concerned than I was before. So I am hoping that Crystal and Square and Marvel will fully have everything under control by the time that September comes around and building up as the months go by.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. And the fact that they delayed this game, it caused a lot of hysteria, but for me, it kind of like relieved some stress in a way, because the fact that, you know, they had that whole Hero Week marketing campaign building up. Yeah. We got the Kamala Khan reveal, and then silence, nothing. And we're literally at this point where we were going to be 3 months away from this game hitting release, and we've only really seen a couple of trailers and one mission, like one mission. So the fact that they pushed it back, and now it gives them more breathing room, because although they have pushed it back, now they have time to test it with the beta to see how fans react. Then they can actually readjust the game before the game comes out. Whereas before, there would have been enough time for the beta for the fans to experience the beta, and then for them to readjust before launch. So now they actually have a nice little release window and more breathing room between the beta and the actual game's release. As well as on top of that, you have in the middle of all this, you have Comic-Con and you have E3.
Right.
Literally 2 of the biggest stages for gaming out of the whole year. And with E3 being pretty close to this game's release, I feel like they're going to make some waves over at E3, and the marketing is going to ramp up this summer, and we're going to get a lot more Avengers content, and it's going to be more structured. It's gonna be a lot. They're taking it slow. They took a step back. They readjusted, and now they're gonna take that slow build approach, and it's gonna ramp up, and it's gonna be crazy. And ultimately, we're all gonna be hyped for it because this game is doing. Say what you want, but this game is doing something that no superhero game has ever tried to do. No
Yeah,
superhero has no superhero game has ever tried to integrate 6 different game engines as if it was 6 different completely superhero games and putting it all into one. So, with that being said, with this game having so much campaign, co-op, DLC characters, cosmetics, just so much, Evan, what are you looking forward to the most? Is it the campaign? Is it multiplayer? Is it the grinding for skins? What is it? The DLC characters, maybe?
there's so much to break down. You're absolutely right, because there are so many factors going into this game. And the one word that I would use to describe it is it's ambitious, is that they are
Yeah.
really trying to make this a fully unique Avengers gaming experience. And yes, there's comparisons between Destiny and Anthem, which I personally do agree with, but we still haven't really seen the full extent of that in its entirety in an actual gameplay sequence
Mm-hmm.
outside of the first tutorial mission of the game, which doesn't really even count as a full-on mission since it's just introducing you to the game itself. So
Yeah.
that's what makes it concerning and a bit weird for me, which is why we all, as fans, would love to see more of it actually be
Yeah.
played out. But what I'm most excited for is, even though the story is definitely different, which I do appreciate, it's interesting. Combat looks very, interesting in terms of how the main combat designer from God of War, who worked on that game, is leading the combat for this Avengers game, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
So combat and story, those gameplay elements do look interesting, but I'm looking forward to the co-op the most because this is something
Yeah.
massive that hasn't been done in a superhero game before. They have had online elements, competitive multiplayer elements inputted into games like even Batman Arkham Origins had that at one point, where
Mm-hmm.
you face
Yeah.
off against multiplayer teams, which was a very interesting divergent path that Warner Bros. Montreal took when making that game. And then we also have our classic single player story driven games like Spider-Man and Batman. But this is kind of making everything all at the
Yeah.
same time. Like you said, it's one big different experience. 6 engines from 6 different teams. They're using like, full on like Unreal Engine hardware, but also like Crystal Dynamics' engine and Square Enix's rendering prowess.
Mm-hmm.
So all this stuff going on to how it will look visually, but it definitely has a different art style than that of like what Spider-Man was. But I still need to get used to what the final version will look like at launch. But I think the co-op aspect is the most important part that this game is going to have, since they're clearly promoting that the most. Team up with your friends,
Yes.
4-player co-op online, reassemble the Avengers, take on AIM and the other bad guys as a team together. So that is the biggest element that they need to
Yes.
fully solidify and nail with this game if they want it to do well financially and critically, and just have fans be responsive towards this was awesome. I'm going to be Hulk. You can be Kamala Khan. We'll get 2 other people like Thor and Iron Man up in here. We'll take out all the other bad guys and grind for gear and get new costumes, get new equipment pieces, and just build our team. And it'll be cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the goal is, but we haven't seen that, which is why it could be a make or break factor for the
Yeah.
entire experience. Is it going to be another type of online looter shooter that's generic like Anthem, since how badly that game flopped? Or is it going to be like what they've said? This is a brand new organism. To directly quote the main creative director of the game, Sean Eskai, at E3, he said that this is a brand new organism that you've never seen before, and it's hard to describe it since it's so different from anything else that you have played in the past. But we are hoping to try and individualize it as something new, different, and exciting. So that's a huge statement
Mm-hmm.
for an Avengers video game, and
Yeah.
that is a lot of pressure for them to get it right. So I'm really hoping and crossing my fingers, since of how amazingly talented and passionate Marvel Games clearly is about all their products.
Mm-hmm.
In Crystal Dynamics, I interviewed the other creative director of the game, Noah Hughes. He's super kind. And the overall teams at Crystal Dynamics and Eidos Montreal and Square Enix do seem passionate about these characters, which is a good thing. But I'm still needing to be convinced on how thoroughly well inlaid the co-op is going to be in this fully new, different single player and co-op and live service experience. There's a lot of things happening at once,
Yeah.
a lot of gears grinding at the same time, but I'm just hoping that it can be pulled off.
100%. I mean, when you just fathom the idea of playing an Avengers game with your friends at the same time, you're flying in the sky as Iron Man, someone else is dropping the hammer as Thor, another person is going crazy as Hulk, like that, it's unfathomable. Like the idea itself, it's so crazy, and that's why it's so teasing. But that's why we need to see more. And the fact that this game is being so ambitious and what it's trying to do with the wide variety that it's going to provide us with amongst 6 different characters at launch, because we know DLC characters are going to be integrated in the game post launch. This what this really has me thinking is the people over at Insomniac, are they seeing what this game is doing? Like, imagine in Spider-Man PS5 having multiplayer, Evan, where it's you and Miles, or just I don't even know, man. Like, if this game really does what it promises, and it really just brings the vision that we have for this game, if it brings it to reality, it's going to change the face of superhero gaming forever. It's going to change what's the future for Spider-Man over at Insomniac. It's going to change whatever plans they have in store for what's next, because it's going to be absolutely insane. And because this game has such a wide variety of characters and different gameplay styles, I wanted to ask you, who are you most excited to play out of the 6 characters that are going to be available at launch? Like, you're squatting up with the boys, ready to hop on a multiplayer mission. Who are you choosing, Evan?
It's a tough one. I mean, there's so many different opportunities for customization visually, and also the power sets that everyone has. Like, Hulk's a tank, so if you just want to destroy everything in sight, choose our big buff guy, Hulk. If you want to kind of have a mix of both, nimbleness and strength, you could do Thor, who can fly but also have super strength and ranged attacks. But if you want something more grounded and realistic, you can do Captain America or Black Widow. And that's the exciting thing, is that there's claiming from the developers themselves, there's so much variety and potential for these characters, that you have someone who can fly, you have someone who can't fly, you have someone who has ranged attack, you have someone who has close quarters combat moves, you have someone with superpowers, you have someone with no superpowers. So how is that going to factor in the entirety of the fully finished product? Which is why, for me personally, I think the character I'm looking forward to the most is Thor. Not only do I think he looks the best from the initial, or the newly updated design with the A-Day gameplay. When it was first revealed at E3, I was a bit off-put by Thor. Now I think he actually looks a lot better with the hair. The chest plate design is still a bit on and off for me, but I do appreciate the more updated look he has, making him actually look like a fully Norse god instead of just some hobo dressed as Thor cosplay. But I definitely appreciate the newer look, and the power set that he has sounds very interesting. We can use his lightning, and we can customize him when upgrading him to either kind of, tailor towards someone who wants to focus on up close quarters combat, or fully ranged powered attacks. So there's differentiation in terms of upgrading. So not one person's character is going to be the same when actually grinding for new gear, getting new upgrades, and upgrading your character to become the actual Avenger they were meant to be, as what they say. So with Thor, I think he's well-rounded because he's strong, he can fly, and he has ranged attacks. Plus, he's actually really strong in close quarters combat, and he'll have a lot of cool super-powered moves, the heroic moves, at his disposal. The tornado of lightning, pretty much. The Bifrost will be able to be used with Heimdall calling it down in combat, which sounds super crazy. We saw a glimpse of that in the new pre-order trailer, but not the full thing. And Mjolnir, probably going to get some dope-looking customization stuff for how the hammer could look. I think that would be really dope if they actually have each piece of gear for every spot. So shoulder pads, chest plate, leggings, or whatever, shoes, head equipment, whatever. If there's different gear pieces to unlock that relate to different parts of customization, I think that would be really cool, because we do know that we will have only specific costumes for the game, and you can get gear, but the gear won't be cosmetic. It will only affect the status of your character's gameplay which is weird, but I guess I get why they're doing that. So that way no one feels left out and that they don't milk the microtransactions, even though they might with the cosmetics that are locked behind microtransaction paywalls. Again, I'm going off a tangent here. It's just a crazy thing because we don't know how the whole game is going to be set up, which is what we need to learn about. But so far, based on the current A-Day roster, I think Thor is definitely my number one pick. Then probably Captain America. Then I would say Hulk, Black Widow, Iron Man, and Kamala Khan. Because the stretching powers is interesting, but I don't know if I'm like dying to go out and play as her. It'll be interesting to see how she plays, but I'm not like wanting to play as her first. If anything, I think that would be Thor. If that means that later on our boy Spidey could be featured as a PS4 exclusive benefit, I don't know. They didn't show that in the pre-order information with all the exclusive PS4 stuff. It was just simply costume nameplates and emotes and stuff like that. But hopefully maybe down the line, if something comes along with Marvel playing nice with everyone at Square Enix and Insomniac, maybe they could get them to collaborate somehow and include Spider-Man, hopefully in the same universe as Spider-Man PS4, to be actually featured somehow in the Avengers game, because that would be a dream come true. And if not,
100%. 100%. I mean, at this point, like, dude, we know they're in the same universe. Stop teasing. Just say it how it fucking is. Just say it how it is. Stop trying to be all secretive. We know it's in the same universe. Stop playing games with us. But dude, I'm on the same boat with you, bro. Like, Thor looks absolutely amazing, and just when you put into perspective that the same gameplay director of God of War is the head gameplay director of this game, like, Thor is basically more badass, powerful version of Kratos. So, throwing Mjolnir like the Leviathan axe, like, just copy and paste, please. Copy and paste, please.
Simple.
I mean, I just want to hop in a gameplay as Thor and literally just say, bring me Thanos, and drop and pull my super and just go off, pop off. Because Thor, he has the most variety, in my opinion. He can fly close quarters. He can throw Mjolnir. And he just looks the most fun for me personally. But one thing that I found really interesting once we got our first look at actual gameplay during the A-Day demo is that the characters are actually pretty balanced. Like, going into it, I was like, how are they going to make Thor and Black Widow on the same level of, like, intriguing? Like, everyone's gonna want to pick Thor because Black Widow is just some, like, little spy. But Black Widow actually looks very, very interesting in terms of her gameplay because she's super fast, she's super agile. It looks to be like amazing hand-to-hand combat, close quarters combat. She can shoot her guns. She has the batons. Like, even though Thor is still gonna kick ass and we're all looking forward to playing as Thor, I'm still looking forward to playing as Black Widow, and they all look very intriguing, which is something that I didn't feel with it is something they were gonna do correctly, because who would pick Black Widow instead of picking someone like the Hulk? Like, completely different power levels, and one sounds a lot funner than the other, but in reality, when you actually look at the gameplay, they both look equally, if not even more, just fun in general.
Right. Totally. And yeah, that's going to be very interesting to see how they differentiate each character's moveset and play style to make everyone feel unique. Like, you know what? I haven't played as Iron Man in a while. Let me go try him out. Oh, wait, there's a new costume for Captain America. Let me wear that and level him up while I get new gear for Black Widow. Oh, but wait, there's a mission I can do as Kamala Khan. Let me try that. So there's a lot going on. And that could work really well in the game's favor or against it if it feels too, haphazardly done or too meshed together that feels that it's like clogged or too packed, trying to do too many things at once. But given how big and expansive they're making this game out to be, and we know that there will be most likely other characters down the line with their own movesets and storylines added in, like Ant-Man, Black Panther, Hawkeye, hopefully our boy Spidey, maybe some other Inhumans down the line since they teased that in the story. There's a lot that could happen, and that could be either really good or really bad. But I definitely think that if Square Enix and Crystal Dynamics play their cards right, they take a step back, like you said, and they look at the situation around them like, okay, people are liking this. but they're not liking this. So let's try and switch that and make it a little bit better for everyone wanting to buy the game and wanting to be excited for it, because that could be, you know, either a factor in their favor or against them. So I just want the best possible outcome for it. And I definitely think that a multiplayer aspect could go a long way, especially with 4-player co-op continuously added on for years on. That sounds super ambitious. And it sounds like that it is trying to follow the same format as a live service game. But if done in the right way, it could be a very, very beneficial factor and conclusive product for everyone in store. And I really hope 100%. That is, because I want this to succeed. I love Marvel games. Crystal Dynamics are a dope developer, and Square Enix seems like that they really want to try and make this, you know, available for everyone. So I'm really hoping that's the best possible scenario for every party involved. But that would be great if it turns out really well, because I want it to do good.
Yeah, 100%. And, you know, they're doing so much. Like, they're being so ballsy with this game. And then on top of that, they're giving us more. They're giving us DLC characters. We already know Ant-Man is in the game. Leaked Lego sets came out of Black Widow and Black Panther and Hawkeye. And Jesus Christ, playing as Black Panther or playing as a Hawkeye, if they actually like add that in the game and they do it right, just again, I was so hyped for Spider-Man PS4, but just thinking of the possibilities that and the potential that this game has, it just gets me even more excited, because they could add Spider-Man in this game. Now, I don't think they will, but I do think the post-credit scene for this game is going to be the Avengers having a party back in their Manhattan HQ, and we're going to see feet walking into the party as the Avengers are partying it up in their welcome back party, and it's going to build up to us seeing Yuri Lowenthal's Peter Parker interact and reunite with the Avengers. Give me some thoughts on that, Evan.
Ooh, my guy, do you work at Marvel? Ooh, because that sounds perfection at its finest. Oh, if they were to do that, that would be amazing, because not only would that create what everyone wants, is a continuously combined universe of Marvel games, Marvel Cinematic Universe. Yeah. What's the recent movie that came out that made $3.2 billion in the box office?
Oh, I forgot.
Avengers blend names. Avengers Endgame with all the characters at once combined together over 10 years of movies that financially kick the crap out of every other film in cinematic history. And it's a Marvel movie. That is a huge accomplishment. And Spider-Man, the game alone, by itself, sold over 13.2 million copies worldwide. Insomniac has now been bought by Sony, and they have reached a huge amount of financial profit just based on Spider-Man alone, making it the highest selling PlayStation exclusive of all time. Now, frankly, granted, The Last of Us Part 2 has recently outdone the pre-order sales for Spider-Man, but as of now, still, it's the highest selling superhero game of all time and the highest selling PlayStation exclusive of all time until Last of Us Part 2 comes out. But Spider-Man alone, as its own standalone game, has done so much for superhero games, period. And now that this could happen again, 100%. Like you said, with Avengers, that has so much potential, it could change the very definition of what a superhero game is and what it could be, in the best possible case being that the Avengers have their own story. It's in their own, sectioned off narrative that focuses on the Avengers team. Yeah. Then, if they were to introduce our boy Yuri at the very end, confirming that the games do exist in one way or another, that would be the key factor on how to fully go forward with these Marvel games. 100%. Because you can make these games and not connect them, that's fine, but wouldn't it be that much more profitable and beneficial for fans if you did? We've never seen that before either in the video game world, of games connecting like this across different developers and several different platforms. That is a very ambitious thing to do, but it can happen, because it was ambitious to do it in 2008 with the first Iron Man movie, connecting films from different directors and different characters all in one world, and it worked. And the same thing can easily happen with Avengers. And Spider-Man is such a recognizable brand, and the game did so well for him, and just the brand of Spider-Man as a character, easily making it one of my favorite, if not actually my definitive favorite version of the character that's ever been made. And the same thing could easily happen with these Avengers in the game. Now, of course, it's going to be different and hard for them to differentiate it between the movie versions and the comic versions and the game versions, but it could fully solidify itself as a fully unique Avengers world, just like the game did for Spider-Man. And if they do connect them, that would be the greatest thing to ever happen for video games within superhero media, in my opinion. I mean, the movies are really exciting and all, but I think, like what you said earlier, feeling like you are actually controlling the character that you've grown up with, that you love from the core of your being. I want to be Spider-Man. I want to be Iron Man. And of course, that sounds cheesy. Like, it makes you feel like Hulk. It makes you feel like Captain America. It makes you feel like Spider-Man. But it does. And that's the great thing about it, is that it's true. And you want to have them all combined together so you can all feel like you are these heroes in the same world, connecting and seeing where the story goes next. And that would be the coolest thing to happen for all the Avengers involved and for Spider-Man. And I think it could easily be done if all of them work together and collaborate on a definitive level. We'll just have to wait and see, but I am crossing my fingers that your post-credit scene happens, because that sounds perfect on every way imaginable. That is amazing.
And then I'm thinking something like that post-credit scene happens, and then in Spider-Man PS5, we could get individual cameos featuring the Avengers, similar to like how it happened in Spider-Man Web of Shadows. I mean, we remember that mission with Wolverine, the mission with Luke Cage. Like, those were some of the best superhero experiences we've ever had in a superhero video game. So why not implement that and set that up for the future, not just for this game, but for Spider-Man PS5, for whatever's next for the superhero games. And you know, they said it when they were developing Spider-Man PS4 that Spider-Man PS4 is like the Iron Man of superhero gaming. This is what's going to set up a universe. So again, all of the Easter eggs, all of the information we've gotten so far about this game leads us to believe that they're both connected. They're both connected. Like, there's no debate here. There's no room for speculation because it's solidified. They are connected. At this point, it's just a matter of waiting until we see them cross paths with the two different universes. But of course, we have Spider-Man in here. I don't think we're going to have Spider-Man playable in this game, but I do think, again, something along those lines of that post-credit scene will happen, connecting both universes. But we are going to get other DLC characters. Again, we've gotten leaked Lego sets of Black Panther and Hawkeye, and we don't even know who else they're going to throw into this game for a DLC. But Evan, out of all of the other Marvel heroes in the Marvel universe, who would be a hero that you would love to see and play as a playable DLC character for Marvel's Avengers?
So it's really, really hard, because obviously there's so many factors as to who could go into this game. But the game's called Marvel's Avengers. Sadly, it's not Marvel's Fantastic Four, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. So it's like, well, if you're naming the game Marvel's Spider-Man, you're playing a Spider-Man, and there will be Spider-Man related characters in the game. Perfect. But for Avengers, it's really ambiguous, because we don't know if they're sticking with the core MCU-like roster, or if they're going to go out there and choose like the X-Men. They're saying Inhumans, but things like the Defenders, Daredevil, Luke Cage, like, are they coming in? We have no idea. So I think, as of right now, I think they're sticking with core Avengers team members from the comics, and also expansive characters that do relate to the Avengers specifically, like the Inhumans. I don't think we're getting the Guardians, because we do know there was that leaked Eidos Montreal tag game for another multi-year, multi-game partnership with Square Enix. And the other game besides Avengers is a open world AAA Guardians of the Galaxy game made by Eidos Montreal. So I think that's going to be its own thing that they'll save for later. Fantastic Four, I don't think will be in this. The X-Men, I don't think will be in this, which is a drag. But I do think characters maybe like Ghost Rider, possibly, or maybe Defenders could possibly fit in there slightly if they want to make it more grounded level, grounded centric characters. But if anything, a definitive choice I can see being in there is our boy Doctor Strange. I gotta be
Yes.
him ASAP. If he's not in this game, that's a disgrace. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I need my boy Doctor Strange to be playable down the line as a top tier DLC character. Luckily, all the characters and regions will be free, thank God.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't know how frequently they will be added into the game. Is it like one character per month, a character a week? You know, we have no idea how they're going to schedule it. This continuous addition of heroes for
Yeah.
years to come. So I'm just hoping that they add in some classic characters within this game's universe that would be absolutely amazing to play as and team up with other players like Black Panther, Doctor Strange, maybe Winter Soldier if they go that far,
Mm-hmm.
or if he'll be a villain in the game. We don't know how they'll do the story, but I think there's a lot of potential for who they could choose. But for sure, Doctor Strange is on my top of the list.
For sure, he's up there too because if you can get Doctor Strange gameplay right, there's no limits. There's literally no limits. Black Panther, he's easy. Hawkeye, he's fairly easy. Doctor Strange, if you can get gameplay for Doctor Strange right, there are no limits of what is possible. So that he's definitely a character I would love to see playable. And again, I'm just so excited to play as other DLC characters, other Marvel's Avengers. At this right as of right now, we know that Ant-Man, Black Panther, and Hawkeye, all three, they're coming.
Yeah.
But for because this is a multi-year game and because they're going to continue adding content throughout the years, which I absolutely love, it's possible that we're going to see Doctor Strange end up here at some point or another. But you also mentioned the villains of this game. Winter Soldier potentially being a villain in this game. In this game, who do you think is the actual villain of the game? That's something we haven't even gotten a glimpse of. I mean, we know AIM is going to be the central corporation that's pulling the strings, but someone is behind AIM. And Evan, to be quite frank, bro, I've been speculating this, but I just hope it comes true more every single day. But I think Doctor Doom is the one funding AIM. And
Ooh.
that is how
Ooh.
he creates his whole army of Doctor Doom bots.
Yes.
And I think he's actually the one funding AIM because we know AIM is going to be the central villain of this, but there's someone pulling the strings. There has to be an actual villain that the Avengers can face off against in the final mission. Like there's a reason they have those Stark suits that got leaked. They're all gonna suit up. They're all gonna go crazy, pull off a little Spider-Man PS4 ending, and they're all gonna go after someone because there's someone behind AIM. And I've been speculating it's Doctor Doom, and I hope it's Doctor Doom. But who do you think is the main villain of this game?
Doctor Doom would be an amazing choice if they were to do that. Originally, I kind of wanted a character like Baron Zemo or possibly Ultron. I do not want. I do not want Thanos in the slightest because I think he's been overused way too much in recent Avengers media. I love the guy, but I think that we've seen enough of him. He was the main villain in Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Endgame, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, and also Ultimate Alliance 3. I'm good with no Thanos. I think I've had my filling of him. I kind of wanted a more low-level Avengers villain.
Yeah,
not
more grounded.
as big as Loki or Ultron, any of the main movie villains that we saw previously. But it can't be like someone low-level like Taskmaster, obviously, or Abomination like we've already seen. Those are villains, but not the main antagonists of the whole story.
Exactly.
And AIM, they're a super villain organization, but they're not a singular titular character like Doc Ock was for Spider-Man, like the Sinister Six are. Like they're a group of villains. They're not the main villain of Spider-Man. It was Dr. Octopus secretly behind the Mr. Negative facade, who they claim was the main villain. And then, oh, surprise, it was Doc Ock the whole time. But there have been leaks, sadly, which I won't spoil, about who the actual main antagonist is for the game. It could be two, actually. But I definitely think that if you read the comics, it's not that hard to piece two and two together. Specifically, that we know AIM is the main corporation that they're going to be fighting against. And who else is one of the primary leaders, or at least one of the main heads of AIM, other than MODOK, which is a very interesting choice to see happen for a game of this size. Now, since AIM is involved, how exactly is MODOK going to be appearing as a villain? Is he already MODOK? Is he going to turn into MODOK? Because if you read the prequel comics, there's a lot of interesting things going on with certain characters that are being introduced, such as George Tarleton and also Monica Rappaccini, who are very, very interesting heads at AIM. So I won't spoil anything other than what's already been revealed. I just think, based on what they've said, that AIM is the main antagonist. There has to be a head of leading that group forward to take out the Avengers or superheroes, since they're outlawing superheroes, or superheroes have been outlawed and they're trying to get rid of all other Inhumans, saying that they are a genetic disease. I definitely think that a bigger scientific mind behind that, such as MODOK, would be a fitting villain. Although I totally would want Doctor Doom instead, because that sounds amazing. Granted, he's mainly a Fantastic Four villain.
Yeah.
I don't think the Fantastic Four would be in this game, but he has fought against the Avengers numerous times in the past. So if there's a reference of him or Latveria in some way, they reference Latveria in Spider-Man PS4, I believe. I know they referenced the Symkarian Embassy and the Wakandan Embassy. I feel like there was a Latvian Embassy reference in there somewhere. But anyways, I definitely think that having Doctor Doom would be an amazing choice. And I definitely think MODOK will be interesting to see how it's played out, given that AIM is the main antagonist. But no Thanos would just be my suggestion out there. Either as a DLC villain or a villain in the main game at launch.
100%.
No Thanos would be my go-to pick. For no villain, but definitely as the main villain, Doctor Doom would be dope. MODOK, I think, is more likely, though.
Yeah, MODOK definitely seems like another interesting choice, and he's definitely someone that I would throw in the mix as potential villains, but chill with Thanos. Like, we got too much Thanos. He's too much of a galactic villain, and the core roster of Avengers that we have in this game, they don't even have the power to take out Thanos like that. So chill with Thanos. But Doctor Doom, MODOK, who else? Who knows? But someone is behind the AIM. And, looking back to the most previous information that we got regarding Marvel's Avengers, which was the pre-order trailer and a bunch of information about the pre-order bundles. And then I'm interested to see what version of Marvel's Avengers are you going to purchase, because me personally, I'm going to purchase the $80 digital deluxe edition that brings two different skin packs, like six or seven nameplates, calling cards, 3 days, 72 hours of early access, beta access, whatever you want. But
that's crazy.
The digital deluxe is for me. But what version of Marvel's Avengers are you going to be purchasing when it comes out?
So I know another shout out to one of my fellow Avengers channels out there, Lejeune. He's actually getting the Earth's Mightiest Edition, the collector's edition, for $200. Which, if you guys don't know, that's why it's priced at $200. So priced. That is way out of my wheelhouse. Even the Spider-Man collector's edition was from $120 to $150. That was already kind of reaching there, but at least it made sense with the stuff you were getting. This, for $200 for the collector's edition, is a bit pricey. If anything, I would say the $150 price mark should be max for that. Me, though, I understand what they're doing with the collector's edition, because they have an item relating to each character's traits from in-game things, which is cool, and it's very, fan-driven. It's a memorabilia keepsake that ties in directly to the nostalgia aspect of moments in the game story, which is cool. But me, I'm not as excited for this game as I was for Spider-Man PS4. And for that, I got the collector's edition instantly. But for Avengers, and I do appreciate you're getting the deluxe edition, that's hardcore passion right there. Me, I'm looking forward to the game, but those Obsidian suits aren't really doing it for me. I'm not a big fan on Ultimate Suits in general for games. I don't care that much about nameplates or the
that's the
credits.
The nameplates, like, really.
Yeah, they're just there to add on to the multiplayer incentives. They're hit or miss. Me, I'm all towards not really giving it a second thought for that type of stuff. So for me, standard edition is where I'm going. I know that might be a big how dare you for some people in the comments. I'm excited for the game. It's just that I'm not willing to spend over the $60 standard default amount for this game as I would for Spider-Man. I mean, I got the collector's edition, the PS4 Pro bundle, the collector's box for Spider-Man, which sent me back like I think like 350 plus dollars just for Spider-Man, which is so worth it in my opinion.
Yeah.
Probably way more than that because the PS4 Pro bundle was 500 plus, so I got like maybe 750. I don't know. I spent a lot of money on Spider-Man, but for Avengers, I'm only getting the standard edition. No Funko Pops, no collector's bundle. I don't think they'll have a console bundle for this game like they did with Spider-Man. No PS4, Xbox bundle or anything like that. I doubt it.
Mm-hmm.
The Steelbook is cool, but I'm just sticking with the standard box art and the standard game. I don't mind waiting the 72 hours access, which is very strange that they would do that as a bonus incentive for buying the deluxe edition. 72-hour ahead of time access for the full game. Cool, I guess, but that's still a very weird choice that Square Enix decided to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I did pre-order it to get the Legacy skin packs and the emote, Kamala Khan emote and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm getting all that, and I hope the game is as good as we hope it can be on the standard base launch title on September 4th with the standard edition. Every DLC and every item will be free afterwards, so that's no sweat off my chest for that. So luckily, I'm just crossing my fingers that the standard game will be as good with the standard edition. I'm not a big, even the legacy outfits, probably only going to wear them once because I'm not a big fan of alternate suits in general. I'll just stick with the default looks, and that'll be it. If they have the MCU suits, of course I'll get those. But I think they'll be very just hopefully not locked behind microtransactions or anything intense like that. But for purchasing the game, either digitally or physically, getting the standard edition day one, pre-ordered it, hoping it's good, and I can only cross my fingers for the best. But that's dope you're getting the deluxe edition.
Yeah, I mean, we're both hyped for the game. We both hope that it delivers, because if it does deliver on the scale that we envision it to, this is going to be the game. This is going to be the game changer for the future of superhero gaming. And with that being said, Evan, we went deep today on Marvel's Avengers. We talked about the involvement with Spider-Man and Marvel's Spider-Man PS5 a bit. And we really went deep about Marvel's Avengers because this game, again, if it does live up to the hype, it's going to change everything. And this is, again, we're only scratching the surface of what's really coming for the future of superhero gaming. So with that being said, brother, do you have any final thoughts before we end today's episode of Superhero Sitdown?
I definitely think that my final thoughts is that thank you for having me. Again, I'm honored to be a guest in your awesome program
honor,
and show,
brother.
which is perfect for all you superhero lovers out there. Anything else? I think I cut out there for a sec. Sorry, you can cut that out if you want.
You're good.
Anything else? I would say that I am just very thankful to be on this show because it's definitely awesome, and all you superhero fans should definitely subscribe to Supes if you are into all superhero content, because he definitely provides with all of that as much as possible. And we want it to be good. We want this game to succeed. I have a lot of concerns, but I'm also very interested to see what the final product could turn into. Whether or not it's going to be actually, profitable in the long run for Square Enix in a bad sense or a good sense, we have to wait and see. If it's going to be the superhero game we've all been waiting for, we'll have to wait and see. Is it going to be a massive flop? We'll have to wait and see. We don't know, and that is the big question on everyone's minds: is will this game be good? And we don't know yet. So I would just say, for everyone who is excited, that's great. For everyone who's not excited, that's fine. Just in general, for everyone out there who is hyped, who isn't hyped, who's in the middle, just keep your expectations in check. Some of these live service games don't really turn out for the best, a la Anthem and Destiny. But Marvel is a very passionate company, and we love these characters of the Avengers, and we want it to be the best possible thing it can become. Will it be the next Spider-Man PS4? Will it surpass Spider-Man PS4? We have no idea, but if it does, I will not be the first to, defend it or anything. I'll be, that's great. Good job on Avengers and Square Enix part. If it outsells Spider-Man, oh my God, that would be
insane.
Huge sight to see. Considering how Spider-Man is the highest selling superhero game of all time on one single platform. And this is a multi-platform game. So this should have no problem selling as much as Spider-Man, if not more than Spider-Man, if they feel confident enough in the product that they are making. And all we can do is hope for the best and just hope that this will, in fact, be an awesome, super fun Avengers game that we can all experience together. And of course, you can expect Supes and I to probably collaborate on some co-op down the line.
100%.
That beta, my
100%.
guy. Oh, yeah. And we'll definitely try and collaborate with all you awesome viewers in the future as well with playing online, which will be fun.
Awesome. So there you guys have it. There is Superhero Sit Down episode 17. Make sure to go check out Evan's channel as he's always posting updates about Marvel's Avengers, the future of Spider-Man and Marvel's Spider-Man. Make sure to check him out. Links will be in the description down below. Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.
Later, true believers.